Don't ever burn a bridge in this business because you will work with the same people in multiple locations. With the builder, if I'm not staying in touch at least once a month, that relationship is going to drift. You have to know what builders are building what. You have to become familiar with the builders.
All right, everyone. In today's episode, I have a really, really special guest who was introduced to me by one of our previous guests, Melise. Super excited to welcome Blake Outlaw, the co-founder of Clear Sail Realty. That's just a side note on his career. He's been in this business since 1997. He's based in Austin, Texas, been focused on new homes, and he's sold over 2,000 new homes, which is incredible. You do not meet a lot of people who have that kind of resume and acumen. So I'm super excited to pick his brain about everything, the new home market today and how it pertains to his business in Austin, Texas. He's doing a lot of innovative things, so we got a good one in store for you today. So Blake, welcome to the show. I'm really pumped to have you. Why don't you give everyone a quick synopsis on your very lengthy career in this world before we get into it?
Yeah. Lengthy. That's a kind way of saying I'm up in years here. But I started new home sales back in late '96, early '97, and loved the business. Loved seeing a family take residence in a new neighborhood in a brand new home, and it was just a really, really fun thing to experience. And then from there, I started looking at what are the challenges and impediments that keep people from buying a new home. And I kept running into people who would want to buy a home, but they were stuck because they had a home to sell, and the timing of a double move or a contingency was just always sort of a disadvantaged position to be buying from. And so I then moved to become a realtor, started my own real estate team, later turned that into a brokerage that is now, we're 100% hyper-focused on selling new homes. So I've been doing that for a while. In the middle of all that, it took about a 3-year stint to go be a part of a fintech, prop tech startup that enables this buy-sell transaction to happen more seamlessly.
Amazing.
And yeah, along the way, sold a bunch of new homes, and just love, particularly now with builders' ability to buy down interest rate and the things that they can do to offer opportunities to consumers, and what is, arguably a slower market, they're still doing fairly well based on, some of the things they can do with financing.
Amazing. Yeah, I've heard Austin's a bit slower now, but we were just talking before the call. Nationally in the US, new homes represent about 30% right now, which is crazy. And in Austin, you said it's 40. Is that right?
It's right at 40. It's a tough thing to measure because not all new homes go through the MLS, but based on, sort of our data that we've been tracking over the years, number of permits, et cetera, I believe it's right at that 40 mark. Some people argue it may be a little bit higher, wow, which is almost double what it has been nationally historically, from what I understand.
Amazing. So look, like you said, you've been in the business a long time, since 1997, worked for builders, started your own team, your own brokerage. You've been focused in new homes. Obviously, this is your bread and butter. What excites you about today the most about the new home market?
I just think that there's opportunity. As the market has slowed down, and we've seen a slowdown in Austin, there's some great value in new homes. The days of bidding and auctions for new homes has passed, and so now buyers are able to get a great deal in a home. If they've owned a home for 3 or 4, maybe 5 years plus, they've got a ton of equity in their home. So it's unlocking equity to get into a new home is really what we're good at, and I'm really excited to see how effective our program is at helping people make this move.
Awesome. So how do you do that? Let's dive into that a little bit more.
Yeah. So, the two things that keep a home buyer from being able to buy before they sell is liquidity. So all their equity is, and their down payment is tied up in the old home, and qualifying ratios. Most home buyers cannot own their new home and their old home at the same time. They can't qualify for the new mortgage. And so we have partnered with several different capital partners that provide access to that equity up front and some guarantees or a purchase of their old home in the process that allows them to not have to worry about or count that old home equity against their qualifying ratio, or their old home debt against their qualifying ratios. So we get them their equity, we reduce the debt, and we help them make the move seamlessly.
That was like we felt that problem during COVID. I remember this because it was nobody wanted to move. They just were too scared to sell because they couldn't find something to buy. And just that became a bigger and bigger problem. And it sounds like you have some bridge financing and other.
That's functionally what it is. It's like a bridge. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. And is that, do you guys do that for just new homes, or are you doing that for resale as well?
We can do it for both. The program, the financial vehicle that we have built works on both fronts, both new and resale. We just found that there are people, because of, great websites that people can go to and find new homes and go explore neighborhoods, that the consumer will go explore and drive and walk through a model home before they'll engage a real estate professional. And so there's a whole sea of buyers that are looking at new homes, falling in love with new homes, and have a home to sell. And so they get stuck at that point. And that we found that to be the place where we get introduced by the builder. So the reason we're selling mainly new homes is because the builders see us as a lead conversion tool, where that buyer that walks in with a home to sell without a realtor, historically, they've sent them out into the wild and say, go get a realtor, go get your home sold, and then come back and buy one. They've got about a 3% conversion rate, maybe less on those prospects. With our program, we're running a 37% conversion rate. When a builder refers a client to us, 37% of the time they're buying that new home.
Okay, whoa. So
because we've eliminated that friction.
Yeah. So they were 3% and you're getting them 37. So
That's
so
right.
what
conversion on those prospects.
Yeah. So what I hear from that is that you are super valuable to the builder. So that's a big theme on this podcast is like, and Melise talked about it too, is like, don't think about what can they do for you. Think of what can you do for them. And that's the reason they keep calling you back.
Yeah. I mean, I wake up every morning, I go on these long walks, and in that walk, I'm asking myself the question, what are the problems that my builders face today? And what are the things that I can do to help solve those problems? I had a conversation with a division president right before I hopped on the call with you of a local regional home builder. And he, one of his challenges is traffic in a particular neighborhood. Well, we brainstormed on ways that we can help generate traffic by leveraging the value proposition of what we do to get those move-up buyers into his model home. And so, we're going to do a direct mail piece that drives traffic to his model. So, if we can keep asking the question, what's your biggest challenge to the home building industry as real estate agents, and we can provide solutions or help participate in development of solutions with them, everybody wins. Yeah. We sell another home, a consumer gets the home they want, the builder sells a home, and it's really a good thing, and it's kind of fun.
I mean, positive sum games are the best games to play. I mean, it's amazing that you've kind of figured that out. So, this has been a big theme on the podcast is how do you build these relationships with builders? How do you maintain them? The best people in the new home market usually have the best relationships with builders. So you've just described how you've removed the friction from the buy-sell process that the builder often encounters is they can't really sell them a home until they've, sold their last home. Huge problem you're solving. What else are you doing that's unique, would you say, as far as how you've built those? Obviously, you've been doing this a long time, so that's maybe part of it. But what else do you do to maintain and grow those relationships? Yeah.
My very first boss right out of college, when I went into new home sales, she took a bet on some kid that didn't know anything about anything. And it worked out for me and I think for her as well. But the thing she told me, she goes, don't ever burn a bridge in this business because you will work with the same people in multiple locations. And so I took that to heart and have just always, just done everything I could to serve people to the deepest level. And it has maintained and fostered relationships that are, a lot of my division presidents that I work with were people that were in new home sales with me 20 years ago or 15 years ago. And, I've just continued to stay in touch. And that's a big thing. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that, real estate's really more of a 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of business. I mean, we have to get up every single day and make contact. And the second that you stop making contact with people, stop delivering value. I think Melise talked about that when she was on your podcast recently, that, we have to show up with value. We have to show up and help the new home salespeople understand that we're their ally and we're here to help them. And so we stay in touch. We do client parties. We do get-togethers. I love to teach and train. Mm-hmm. So I'll bring training materials to a new home sales meeting and help, elevate the quality of the team, or at least get them thinking about things that might help them sell another home.
I love the mantra like speed, patience, and persistence. I was just writing a YouTube script kind of about some of the things I know in real estate, and like speed to lead, like being there for people when they need it, having patience to know it's a long game, and being persistent. I mean, let's talk about both. What does your cadence look like for the builders and maintaining those relationships? And then also, what does your cadence typically look like with leads, with clients?
Yeah, with the builder, if I'm not staying in touch with one of our builder partners, at least on a monthly basis, at the top from the division president, the sales management level to the salespeople in the field, if I'm not staying in touch at least once a month, reminding them I'm here, reminding them that we can help them solve a problem, that relationship is going to drift. Time and connection, face-to-face is best. Phone is second. Mm-hmm. Text and email, they check the box, but they don't really drive the relationship. With the customer, I think your speed to lead is something that we talk about a lot. And, I'll go visit one of my new home salespeople. I walk into the model home and say, hey, I gave your name out to like 7 people last week. Did anybody call you? And candidly, the answer is probably no, or no, one did, but or whatever, right? It's a very small number of people that actually do that. So what we are training our salespeople to do over our new home salespeople over and over and over and over again is if they connect me with the consumer via a group text or give me the contact info, I can guarantee you there's a 100% chance within about 15 minutes of me receiving that contact info, I'm going to be in touch with that consumer, that customer. And we're going to be explaining how this program works to keep them moving. Because the second they walk out of the model home, in fact, my best new home salespeople with the highest conversion rate, that 60-70% conversion rate, those new home salespeople are calling me from the model home with a customer at their desk, and they're handing the phone to the customer and saying, hey, Blake has a program to solve your problem. They hand the phone to the customer. I get their information. I provide them an estimate on their home. I give them the overview of how our program works, how it's going to fit their needs, and encouraging, hey, if you're wanting to go ahead and take the home off the market, the new home off the market, and get that started, we can do that, and then we can get together face to face tomorrow and cover, the intricacies and the details of our program. So it's speed to lead. I mean, that's the point. Is like within 15 minutes, because the second they're driving out of the model home neighborhood, they're going to the next neighborhood. They're going to see the next builder, and they're distracted. All the brochure materials are now on the floorboard of their car, and they're done. So we have to catch them and keep that excitement level at its peak to keep them moving forward.
100%. And then they might be getting prospected by someone else at the next turn.
Absolutely.
And so it's funny, because, I've worked with thousands of agents over the years, and people have a tendency today to get fancy. And we've been a part of that for sure. Like I've taught a lot of people how to build YouTube channels, and the theme with that was really interesting for me to learn over doing this over a few years is that it obviously works, but it only works for a select few people, because you have to stick to it. You have to commit to it, like long term.
Yeah.
And still, video helps, but it's not necessary. The most effective tool is still your phone, and most sales are made over the phone by speed to lead and providing value and knowing how to say and what to say it. And it's like the same principles still apply.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, someone literally is in the model home. They've raised their hand and said, I want to buy this home and I have an impediment. Can you help me remove that impediment? They call me, I remove the impediment, and they can continue doing that which they wanted to do, which was to buy that new home.
100%. And like this is a good, I think this is a good example of marketing in general. Like you found like a person that comes in at a very pivotal point in their journey where they don't have representation. They like what they're seeing. They don't know how to buy it because they have something to sell. And there's a problem there. And you've really solved that singular problem. And to give some context why I say that is like, we've done the same with YouTube. Like in our business, I teach people how to run paid ads on my YouTube channel. And sometimes they're like, what if I were to just, hire this company to do it for me? And we know some people are going to do it themselves and some people will want to hire us. And it's like, you get them when they're already looking, they're already interested, they already have a lead generation problem. In your case, it's like, they're already looking to make a move. And it's like, you've solved that problem by providing value first. And I love that as just a general marketing philosophy.
Yeah. And the other piece to that that's really important is that our new home salespeople are really good at what they do.
Yeah.
They've already built trust. They've already developed a relationship with that customer. So when that trust that they've built introduces me, a lot of that trust transfers to what we do.
Totally.
And so it's a high trust conversation. It's a very specific problem that we're solving. And in our solution, we've gotten pretty good at explaining it in a way that the home buyer can understand it pretty quickly. And
would you say this is where the majority of your sales come from, is like this one inflection point?
90 to 95%.
I find that fascinating because a lot of people, like we were just saying, sometimes they complicate things, right? But if you just dominate one little intersection of the market, you can have a crazy amount of success. So you mentioned your reps and all this. Like, why don't you talk to me about your team and how that's structured?
Yeah. So I've built teams. I've built a brokerage. Sort of relaunched a new brokerage right at 12 months ago in Clear Sail. And it's me and a business partner. We have support staff. I'm overseeing and managing the relationships with the builders, the salespeople, management teams, having some first conversations with the clients. And then my business partner, Charlie, is functionally the best real estate practitioner I've ever met. I mean, he's really, really, really good at like sitting at a breakfast room table and walking people through a process with patience, with diligence, and gets them all the way through to the finish line. And so he generally is the face-to-face with the customer through most of that journey.
Okay.
In that vein, we're hiring administrative support to build the foundation so that we can continue to grow and scale. Because right now I'm having to turn away builder partners that want us to do what we do. And that's like really not a good idea to turn away business. And so we've got the foundation. We're probably 2 weeks away from it being built, and we can start bringing in more builder partners. And we have a line of them that are begging us to do what we do for them.
Well, it's a good problem to have, but it always sucks to turn people away, but it's a good problem to know you have a bit of a wait list, if you will.
And my business partner is smart enough to know that we're only as good as our last transaction.
Yeah.
If we're not able to serve people at a high level and take great care of them, our customer, our client, the home buyer, home seller, if they get to the end of the journey and we haven't met the standard that we hold ourselves to and that they probably hold us to as well, that's going to get back to the builder. And so I think doing what we do with excellence is an absolute critical, like sort of unspoken part of this success that we've had, is that we do a really good job of taking care of these customers. So they're telling the builder rep, hey, Blake and Charlie and Clear Sail Realty were amazing. I'm so glad that we got to do that.
Yeah, it gives them confidence in that referral, right? I mean, we do this, and I think most good organizations do this with their salespeople. It's like share the. It's easy as a salesperson to just have those first few phone calls and then forget about someone. But when you actually see them on the later end of things having a great experience, it just gives the salespeople that much more confidence in any business.
That's right.
And I think that making that visible is incredibly important.
Yeah. And the new home salespeople and the builder, they put their name to me. I mean, they put their reputation on the line based on my ability and consistency and performance. And if I'm not performing, they're not going to continue to put their name to me. They're going to have trepidation or hesitation in referral. So we want them to be confident and quick in referring people to us.
Well, that's admirable of you guys to know your limit and like stay, in tune with like what you can handle and still deliver at a high level. So in that light, what kind of tech, I know you mentioned some prop tech. I know you guys are working on a few things in house. Like what kind of technology are you using today to help you with all of this?
We're really, really, really dialed in on our CRM system. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's very process driven software tool that we've took an off the shelf thing and really spent a lot of time making it work so that we know at every moment in the process where a client is, so that we can accurately report back to our new home salespeople where they're in the journey, what's going on. And we're moving towards we're bringing in our next hire is somebody who's going to help us automate a lot of what's going on behind the scenes and, communication with video and those sorts of things. So that's, video communication, automation, and really dialing in that customer experience is key.
For sure.
Beyond that, I think that our next sort of hill to climb is to engage with lead generation sources other than just the builder sending to us. But where can we go find buyers for our home builders?
For sure.
Because I want to be able to bring clients to them at the same pace that they're referring them to us. So we're a lead conversion resource for them today, and we want to be a lead generation source and a lead conversion source for the builder.
Awesome. Well, we'll talk about that on another call.
I think I know some folks are doing some really good stuff, so I'm excited about that conversation.
I have another question for you. I mean, we at Agent Launch, obviously, we've launched now newconstructionhomes.com. We're totally all in on this industry. Like, we love it. It's been a great pivot. It's paid off. We think that it's been really fun being on the supply side of the industry. And I don't really know anyone else who's that niched into this from an agency perspective. So what do you like, obviously with most people don't just sell new homes, right? It's like the lead generation we do, it might be targeting people looking for new homes, but sometimes they'll buy resale. Sometimes they have something to sell. It's always, you're always going to have some crossover. What would you say is for most agents who just focus on resale, like what would you say is different about selling new, and what is the most important thing that differentiates it, and what does someone need to know if they want to get into this niche?
To get into the niche, I mean, you have to know what builders are building what. You have to become familiar with the builders, and I think there's a great opportunity. I believe that there are a lot of builders who do some really amazing things, building really smart technology, and building really, really energy efficient homes. They're able to do things with interest rates, and most realtors just go to the MLS to do a search for their clients. And I think as a fiduciary, and especially in light of, apparently some things are changing because of the SNAR settlement, that was tongue in cheek. But, I think that we've got a real opportunity to continue to build value in the eyes of the consumer as real estate professionals by becoming familiar with who's building what are the values. I mean, if you've got, I know Cliff Stahl was on your program recently, and he was talking about the energy efficiency that they're doing there at Meritage. And I think there are other builders that are building net zero type infrastructure in their neighborhoods. Like, as a real estate professional, this is sort of coaching to all the realtors out there, we need to be very aware of what's going on in the builder world around us, because there are homes for sale that maybe aren't in the MLS. Maybe we're not seeing them in our search that our clients would definitely benefit from owning. And so just it's an education paired with sort of a mindset to always keep those new homes in the back of your mind for when the opportunity arises.
That's what I really love about this. And our lead generation is really focused on that, because when people are looking at new, you can't rely on MLS. You, as the specialist, you have to know what's here, what's coming, what's here but not being shared, and what incentives are at play. And like, the end consumer just doesn't know that stuff. So the way I look at,
and there's not a repository either that has all that information.
Exactly. So the way I look at that stuff is, realistically, that is an opportunity for you to be even more valuable to the client than in a resale context. And I think if you look at it that way, that allows you to build the relationship with the lead better. And that's why we see such better conversion rates with this new funnel. Not new, but this funnel that we run for new construction. Because that initial conversation, we've removed, just like you removed a lot of that friction from them buying and selling, we've removed a lot of the friction from the first conversation. Because most resale funnels, they're looking at everything that's on MLS, and they could go to Zillow, Realtor, Homes.com, any agent's website, and get that. With new homes, they don't have that information. And that's why really we work with people like yourself, new home specialists, who can pick up that phone, call them and say, hey, I saw you're looking for new. Let me walk you through what's here, what's coming, what's here, but you might not see, what financing builders are offering, what incentives they're offering. There's a lot to know. And I think it just makes that initial engagement with a prospect so much more powerful.
And if you're consistently aware of and spending time checking out what builders are doing, you get to know the salespeople that are in the model homes. There's usually 1, 2, or 3 of them that are in any particular neighborhood on any given day, and you can get to know them so that when you bring a client through, there's familiarity. And I've found, it happens occasionally, and it's actually really kind of fun in an interesting sort of way. So I'll bring a client into a builder's model home, and because I know the new home salesperson, they'll pull the client aside, or during our tour of the model or wherever, they'll say, you're working with a great realtor, because they have a relationship, and now they've just solidified and enhanced my value that I'm adding to my customer. Because of a relationship. So, there's no doubt about it. The only thing that works in this business is relationships.
100%.
And sometimes those relationships are introduced through like agent launch, or they're introduced through Zillow lead or whatever. But at the moment that you have that first contact, and that's that speed to lead that we talked about earlier, the moment that you have that first contact, that's the beginning of a relationship where you build trust. You have to answer the 3 questions, right? Am I good at what I do? Can you trust me? And do I care? And if we can answer those questions for every relationship we have, whether it's at home, whether it's in the workplace, or whether it's in new home sales, that's the questions we have to answer.
100%, man. Well, we're super aligned, and you make it sound so simple. But the funny thing is the longer you do something, the better you get at it, the more simple it really becomes. And it's just leaning on the core fundamentals of this business that makes you successful. So Blake, I really loved our conversation today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Where can people find out more about you if they want to learn about what Clear Sail is doing? Yeah, clearsailrealty.com. Look us up. Feel free to reach out. If you're an agent, I would love to introduce you to what we do, and maybe it would help you in your business. I'm pretty open book about how we do what we do. If you're a builder and you want to explore a partnership, and we're in Austin, Texas, but we're quickly going to be expanding into Houston, Dallas, San Antonio. So love to talk to builders in the state of Texas that have a need where they've got these clients that are not able to buy because they've got a home to sell. We solve that problem all day, every day. Awesome.
And we're good at it.
I believe it. 2,000 homes. Yeah. You must be.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much, Blake. If you are an agent or a builder listening to this podcast, make sure you subscribe. And if you want to find out how Agent Launch can help generate new construction leads specifically for agents, go to agentlaunch.com, and we'll see you in the next episode.